Sony, you are console masters. The PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 5, they be the best. But when it comes to VR, there's some doubts on how serious they actually are. But guys, no need to fear. I think Sony could be serious this time. In fact, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. Let's dive in. One of the most anticipated and probably day one purchases for the PlayStation VR 2 is Horizon Call of the Mountain. Not only have Sony got Firesprite plus Guerrilla Games to build a VR game exclusive for the PlayStation VR 2, but we have a fully fledged VR experience, no tech demo. You could call this a one-off, and a Sony owned Firesprite, and with Guerrilla Games also being part of Sony Studios, so you could say they didn't have much choice. But then we have Resident Evil 8 by Capcom, which is not a straight import, but has been built from the ground up, tailored for the PlayStation VR 2. And with Resident Evil 4 seemingly having PlayStation VR 2 support as well, we can start to see a trend developing. Then we have the makers of Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Skydance, and their new folklore, horror and giant monster creature thing Behemoth, which could be incredible on the PlayStation VR 2, looking at Skydance's VR record. The connecting dots are the fact that Sony have gone out their way to reach out to these developers to build games specifically for the PlayStation VR 2 and its tech. After all, Behemoth is going to be released on all major headsets, right? But it's still going to be a completely different experience because of the requirements for the PlayStation VR 2 compared to other headsets. For example, there's eye tracking, but one of the main indicators of this is the news from a trusted source that Sony has reportedly broken a deal with Valve to bring Half-Life Alex to the PlayStation VR 2. This display of bringing the best to the PlayStation VR 2 displays a drive to show off what the PlayStation VR 2 is capable to developers and consumers. I really hope this happens, but once again we have this intent there, getting devs and trying to get the best games over to the PlayStation VR 2 because the tech and power of the PlayStation 5 allows a PC VR high-end experience. And they know just as much as we know that having a game like Half-Life Alex shows they mean business. And the power, the tech, the games, and ultimately the price is another strong indicator. The price for the PlayStation VR 2 and its games is always going to be a big debate. In between all this noise, I think the fact that big titles such as Horizon, which are being released at the same price as PS5 titles, is actually a good sign when it comes to how Sony are viewing and marketing the PlayStation VR 2. Hear me out, okay? So with Horizon being $59, they are viewing the PlayStation VR 2 games in the same bracket and quality as any other PS5 title. And this is done intentionally, I think, because they want consumers and devs to view it this way because the experience warrants it. And it shows Sony are confident in their product and that once people play it, the good reviews and word of mouth will mean more people will buy the PlayStation VR 2 and their games. It's a very ballsy method. Now there might be a common misconception that the PlayStation VR 1 didn't have many big hitters, but in actual fact they had some big AAA games like Resident Evil 7, Skyrim, but overall the PSVR 1 was not that attractive for developers and even Sony to develop these big titles consistently, as not only was the tech limited, but the market was so small that it didn't make sense to charge such a high price. So why would developers want to invest in this? It just didn't make sense. And let's not also forget that back in the day, games were around £30 to £40. I remember those days. And now, £60 or so seems to be the standard market rate for a AAA experience anyway. Point being, the fact that Sony's charging this price is a flag to other developers that says, hey you, yeah, come here, make some games and you can charge full price. Yeah? PlayStation VR 2 is not a gimmick, but a true VR headset that can bring ambitious ideas to life. This will help consumers psychologically to start envisioning PlayStation VR 2 games in the same light as the PlayStation 5. Offering this premium service shows their intent with this. Horizon even has built-in HDR, so they are setting precedent and trying to lead from the front, which is a road call to other devs and makes my previous point, which is collaborating with other developer companies, a much more easier sales pitch. And as it's a premium device, it shows that Sony's actually put a lot of risk into it and they've burned a lot of their shit, so they have to try harder, which is better for us. I mean, no company would invest so much and bring out a premium device just to go half-hearted, so I think it makes sense they're really going to give this a go. On to my final point. Well, body tracking is now here. Sony have announced Mockubi, which is a full body tracking software which works with all VR headsets. And although it is currently limited to mobile motion capture and will only be available in Japan initially, I am sure the long-term plan is to bring this worldwide and of course to the PlayStation VR 2. And of course, as with any new tech, it could flop, but VR is extremely popular in Japan, so I can't see why this will not work out and will not move to other countries eventually. But crucially, this product will be supporting VR chat for the first time, which strongly hints that VR chat will also be coming to the PlayStation VR 2 at some point. Mockubi has 6 sensors which are placed on your body which capture whole body movements indoors and outdoors. And guess what? You don't even need a camera. The possibilities of this are obviously crazy, and I'll do another video at some point. But more to the point, if you was hiring someone for your company, you would look at these motivations, their track history, what they're interested in, to see if they're actually genuinely interested. You know, what extracurricular activities are they doing? Sony are ticking a lot of boxes right now, and the full body tracking software, the fact they're making it available to not just the PlayStation VR 2 but all major headsets, it makes me wonder what else to have planned for the future of VR. What do you guys think? The signs are there of a company willing to dive into the deep end, to take these risks, bring in consumers, lure in developers to join their cause. Let's not forget that Sony have entered into markets before and changed gaming, with the PlayStation 1 and their 3D graphics and DualShock controllers being a prime example of this. So the fact they've announced full body tracking already and they've priced their games similar to the PlayStation 5 shows confidence in their product and offerings. Of course, once we get fully hands-on with these games and the PlayStation VR 2, we will know more and more. The potential of the PlayStation VR 2 is clear, but if the company behind it do not believe in their product and are not driving sales and bringing big games, then it's all going to be for naught. But as I said, it seems Sony's running with this PlayStation VR 2 torch to hopefully light up a new era of gaming. And for me personally, their announcement of full body tracking is such a big game changer for me. It shows their intent, not just for the short term, but the long term duration. And not just with VR and the PlayStation VR 2, but other things like maybe mixed reality and augmented reality. Where you at, February? That's me finished talking anyway. What do you guys think? I've been really loving all the comments and interactions I've been getting. It's been really cool engaging with everyone. Keep them coming. And for one final request, if I may. As of right now, I'm on 245 subs and I'm giving myself a target of reaching 800 subs by the start of the new year. If I don't get them, then I'll quit YouTube. I kid. But seriously, if you enjoyed today's video, then consider subscribing. I bring VR related content on a weekly basis, so there's plenty more of this to come. So I'll see you guys next video.